Let's talk some Big 12 basketball here. The season is over. It did not go as planned in March. Let's just be real here. If I told you to start March Madness that the Big 12 was going to find itself in a position with no team in the Final Four for the first time since 2017, what would you say? No way. We got 7 teams in, bunch of top seeds. Someone's going to get there, right? No. And not only did the Big 12 not get to a Final Four for the first time in 6 years, they had 2 teams in an Elite Eight. Both teams were favored going into the game. One of those teams was up, 12 points with 10 minutes left in Texas. Kansas State had a 6-point lead with 10 minutes left. And both teams ended up losing and blew their games. I understand it's a one-and-done tournament, and you look at these one-and-done tournaments and you say to yourself, yeah, you got to roll the dice sometimes. I get it. But we should be able to agree that this was a disappointing tournament for the Big 12 Conference. There's no doubt about it. By the way, if you're liking the videos, hit that subscribe button on YouTube. We appreciate you doing that. Share it on Facebook and subscribe to our podcast. Hit that 5-star rating and review on iTunes. Appreciate you guys doing that. And you get a free Heartland College Sports koozie when you leave a 5-star rating and review on iTunes and send me a screenshot to Pete Mundo, Mundo, at heartlandcollegesports.com. So, that's the Elite Eight storyline that is a total bust, right? And then if you go team by team, just for a second here, not to reopen wounds for some of you, but let's just do it. And I think you'll agree with me, and I'd be curious to hear from you on Facebook Live. Just leave a comment on if you think it is fair to say the Big 12 busted out in the NCAA tournament. Now, it was the only team with 2 teams in the Elite Eight out of the power conferences. The Big East did, but I don't consider the Big East a Power 5 conference. It's just not, by definition. But Baylor lost in the second round to Creighton. Creighton's a good team. They were close to getting to the Final Four, but Baylor didn't really hang in that game all that well. So that's Baylor. Then you go on down the line. Iowa State, ugly as it gets. Worst performance in the conference in the NCAA tournament. That was a hideous performance from Iowa State against Pittsburgh. From there, Kansas, no Bill Self, defending champs, knocked out before the Sweet 16 as a number 1 seed, falling to Arkansas, an 8 seed, in a game that they also blew in the final 10 minutes of that game. K-State, 6-point lead in the Elite Eight, trying to make their first Final Four since 1964 against Florida Atlantic. They're up 6 points with about 10 minutes left in the game. They have a chance to take a couple of larger leads. They really could have pushed that lead to 10 to 12 points at one point, and they missed some opportunities on that front. They end up losing that game, and the offense was ugly down the stretch. You look at TCU. As good as this TCU team was, they win their first-round game, and they end up also blowing a lead against Gonzaga, right? I mean, that's what happened to TCU as well in the NCAA tournament. TCU was leading in that second half, leading at halftime, and they blew a lead to Gonzaga. And you go on down the line from there. Texas, blown lead, right? And West Virginia as well. Let's not forget. I know that West Virginia game feels like a million years ago, and it does to me as well. But can we not forget that the Mountaineers were dominating that game early on? Like the first 10 minutes of that game, they were down 2 at halftime. But don't forget that the Mountaineers, they were in complete control of that game. They were up early 19-8. And they end up losing to Maryland in the first round. Now, they had to take on Alabama after that anyway, and they probably would have lost the game. But still, the story for the Big 12 and the Big Dance is blown leads. It is what it is, and I understand, and I'm with you there, Jared, where, they're going to be fine. They're going to come back strong next year, and they still perform better than the other Power 5 conferences. It was a tournament of complete and utter chaos. Don't get me wrong. Look at the Final Four. San Diego State, FAU, Miami, and UConn. If you had that, go buy yourself a lottery ticket tomorrow. Do yourself a solid. But when we talk about the Big 12, and we all agreed that this was the best conference in America, hands down, the Big 12 is great. Nobody's better. And I'm with you there. But the league did not perform in March Madness like the best conference in America. That's just a fact. Especially with the depth that this league had. I still think this was the best conference in America, hands down. But with the depth that this league had, the reality is when it came to performing in March on the biggest stage, the stage that matters the most in college basketball, the stage that everybody pays the most attention to, this league did not perform like a lot of us thought it would. And that's a reality of the situation in terms of how March Madness went for the Big 12. But now it's, hey, we got plenty of content on the website, by the way. These shows are not ending. We've got plenty of YouTube, podcast, written content. Follow us on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook. We'll be pushing a lot of content. Hey, we got baseball, softball. We've been covering those in full swing. Off-season football is going to be, obviously a hot topic for us here moving forward. And the basketball scene's not going anywhere. So be sure to check us out. I'm Pete Mundo on HeartlandCollegeSports.com. Thank you for being here and being a part of this video and this show. Subscribe before you leave. Thank you for doing that. And help us grow this show every single day. We're doing it with you at the grassroots level. So thank you for that, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a great day.